All right, good morning, barnyard enthusiasts. You may be wondering why it looks like a weird color on my face. It's because you're under an umbrella today. It is raining. It's late November, almost December, so it's kind of damp and cold. It isn't raining hard right now, but it is sprinkling. The guys back there looking, what's that big umbrella? What's going on? Anyway, good morning. And we are going to do a real quick recap about some things that has happened on the farm this year, what I've learned, what my plans are for next year, etc., etc. So let's get started. All right, there's nothing like a good old-fashioned country breakfast. You know, biscuits and gravy, pancakes, bacon. Here's some leftover pancakes from one of those breakfasts. Now, I love these breakfasts, but I also have some birds that love this breakfast. So let's feed them some extra pancakes. What do you say? You got those pancakes? Huh? Come on. There you go. Oh yeah, good stuff, huh? Yeah. I like to give them a little variety after they're cooped up in their run during the wintertime, because all they have is their chicken feed, and you know, I want to give them a little bit of pleasure every now and again. So I've been pretty upfront with my farm situation, in that I'm not in it to make money. I'm not in it to have a growing concern, but I am in it for the love of the animals and the relationships I have with them, and the fun times we have together, just as a learning, growing, good feeling experience. And I wanted to do it for my daughter, so she could experience farm life, country life. So there's a lot of, a lot of people go into it to make money or for a specific purpose. I didn't have a specific purpose, but in the back of my mind, I wanted to sell some animals, not necessarily to make money, but to help sustain the farm. And one thing I learned over the course of the farm, but especially this year, is that for various reasons. One, because COVID sort of pinched everybody's wallet. The economy, as it is right now, is pinching everybody's wallet. So selling the animals is actually pretty difficult for me. I don't go on hardcore advertising blitzes or things like that. I will keep an eye out, and if someone's looking, I'll say I have some, etc., etc. And over the years, I have been able to sell some, but it isn't turning out like I thought. And that's just an honest assessment. The goats are hard to sell. They are a niche goat. They're not really meat. They're not dairy. They're pretty much pet only, myotonic, fainting goats. I love them. I wouldn't have any other goat. One of the main reasons is because they're easy to contain. They don't jump. I could probably, I've said this before, contain them with just hog panels, because they try to jump and they'll just faint, so they don't even attempt it. But it's hard to sell them because of that. But that's one thing I've learned this year especially, is that it's difficult to sell some of these animals. So it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it as a negative. It's just something that it is what it is. So I don't know if you can hear me on this one. Guys. So another thing I learned this year is similar situation with the goats. KuneKunes are very popular, very friendly, very easygoing. They make great homestead additions. And there was a time several years ago where you could sell them easily. But now the market's kind of saturated, so they're not going as quickly. People are being super picky, which they should be. But there's a lot of choice. so it's hard to get rid of them. I have sold one of this litter to tell you how it's going. But again, like I said, I don't advertise that I'm doing it, and I don't push it, so if it happens, it happens. But what I did learn, besides that it's hard to get rid of coonies, is that you would be surprised how maybe one litter will add 10 hogs to your farm immediately. I went from 4 pigs to 11 pigs just like that. And that has created a little bit of an increase in food purchasing during the summer, but it's going to be a lot more in the winter. And I'm feeding them a lot more of my hay as a supplement as the grass died down and they don't have much grazing. I'm going to pause for a second. My goodness, those pigs can be loud. Anyway, as I was trying to say, they're great additions to the farm. I just love them. I'm a type of person that learns on the go. I do research, I do read, I do watch videos, but I'm a more hands-on kind of person. So I knew I could probably get a big litter, wasn't sure. But when it happened, I realized I wasn't completely prepared. I did have a space for them when they were born. I did have a space for them being weaned. But then when I put them in with the herd, which actually at the time was just lavender, I realized that the space was too small for 9 pigs. It handled 2 very easily, but 9, a little stressful. So I have to build a new pasture for the pigs. And I also didn't realize how difficult it was to sell them. So that it has been the impetus for what I was talking about with the goats. I want to now focus on raising them to add to the table, my table. So I'm going to learn, do some hard crash course learning on how to butcher, prepare, and eat the pigs in my farm. I will sell them on occasion, when and if I can. That's not off the table at all. But raising them for meat now gives them a purpose and a goal for this farm. They are great animals. I do love them. They're awesome. But I learned that I want to be more self-sustaining. I want to be able to provide for me and my family with my own 2 hands, and know where the meat came from, know how it was raised, those sorts of things. So it's going to be a learning process, a learning curve. So that's another thing I learned. Another thing I learned, I've seen snippets of it along the way on this farm, is that goats can be real bullies. I mean, physical bullies. Romeo here, mom is Meadow, and his dad was Kubo, a big old black strapping buck, man, just a nice handsome thing. And Meadow, I've always loved the way she looks. He looks just like her in coloring. But I thought he would grow up to be a real nice big buck. He's a little guy. But I think part of that was because bucks are born almost ready to mate, man. They will start very quickly doing things to their sisters or moms or aunts or whoever is in the herd that they're with. So you need to separate. If you're going to keep them intact, you need to separate them. So I put him in with the larger bucks, Ringo and Luke. Luke took it upon himself to bully him, to let him know who was boss. And that happens with goats, but he was so small, completely defenseless, I didn't see it at the beginning. I did notice when I would go out to feed them that he was standing off alone a lot of times. And on 1 or 2 occasions, I saw Luke just ram him in the side so hard it knocked him down and rolled him, and he laid there for several minutes. And it just got to the point where he wasn't eating. He got real bony, I felt really bad for him, so I gave him a separate pen. He is now recuperating. He's still kind of thin, but I guess I've learned that real bullying can have a physical impact. I believe he would be a larger goat, but he just went through so much trauma. I need to be careful and watchful when I move the herd around and who people are with, because goats can be very physically bullyish, and it's something that you need to keep an eye on. Isn't that right, bud? Another thing I learned is that turkeys are actually relatively easy to raise. They were friendly birds. They didn't demand too much attention. They didn't even require a shelter per se. I gave them shelter, but they chose to ignore it and just sleep under a tree or find a branch that had fallen and roost on that. So that was the case with wind, rain, heat, chill. They were easy. So I may raise turkeys again. We had them butchered and I gave several away to friends and family. We had one for Thanksgiving. Awesome. That's not out of the picture of doing in the future. I really like those turkeys, and they were docile birds. I mean, you could approach them, pet them, catch them. They weren't like, I mean, you can never catch a guinea. And roosters can be super mean and, you know, intimidating. But these turkeys, even the toms, easy going things, man. I learned that they're easy to take care of. They taste great at Thanksgiving, and might do it again. So this isn't something I learned this year, but I just wanted to remind you, it is rut season. See his lip up? And he has been peeing on his face, right on cue. He just did it, and he's sniffing it out and sniffing the does, which are across the way there. I learned from the bucks that their little pen was overgrown. I mean, the weeds were over them. And I was like, why in the world are you not eating the food in your pen? So I experimented and I cut down on their hay, and it made a huge difference. Their pen area was cleared down relatively quickly. I mean, it gave them a lot of food. Right here it is here. But if they have ample supply of free, easy hay, they might ignore what's in their field. How you doing there, bub? Huh? How you doing? But I was obviously giving them too much. So you just keep an eye on your fields. Keep an eye on what they have. And if they're not eating it down, don't give them as much grain or hay. And if they have eaten it down, there's nothing left, increase your food to them. Yeah. I learned when a pig is giving birth, first of all, their birth, the actual birth itself, seems relatively easy. I mean, I hate to put it in such, I don't know, crass terms, but they literally just squeezed him right out. Boom, almost shot him out. I mean, it was amazing. As opposed to the goats, which a lot of things can happen, and it can be an arduous process. But man, those pigs just boom, boom, boom. I learned that mama is a big animal, and she may inadvertently crush her kids. Clover gave birth to 10. 2 of them were stillborn, which that happens, and 8 survived, and several weeks into it, she actually did lay on 1. So 7 survived to today. So you need that crush rail, a place for the baby pigs to go to get away from mama, and a place where you can warm them up if they need to be. I also learned that mother instincts, it's usually natural, and I hate to use the same word, instinctive. Sometimes it isn't. Now, when those baby pigs first came, I could tell Clover was very agitated. So we separated them for a short period of time. Let her have all the piglets. We as they came, we separated them until she was done. Oops, starting to rain. Woo. Let me get in here. And then after she settled down, after she was relaxing, we brought the piglets out to her again. And it was kind of funny. We would watch her. She's gigantic compared to the piglets. And we were scared to death that she was going to lay on them. But we noticed she would take the time to sort of walk around to see if there's any pigs under her before she would lay down. And she did a lot of high stepping. It was funny. When she was walking through them, she would try to walk gingerly through them. I'd never seen her do that before. So it was kind of awesome seeing her motherhood instincts kick in. I heard some pigs are kind of mean. Some pigs maybe even eat their young. But this didn't happen with Clover, so we were lucky in that regard. They still love animal crackers. Jeez, man. Uh-oh, you dropped it. Yeah, now you're friendly, huh? Because I got food. Yeah. All right. I learned that when I feed my goats animal crackers, these guys, which they love, that I end up eating about half of what I give them. Hey, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to continue being a part of all the adventures and stories that happen on Rubber Soul Farm. I hope we can spend more time together on the farm, but until then, enjoy your animals and take care of yourselves.